Assalamu alaikum students. I hope you all are well by Allah's grace, and we are starting with our second term. So our next chapter is Detective Khan and the Poisoned Hens. So first of all, just let me clear your confusion. Who is a detective? A detective is a person who has the capability to solve cases, complex and difficult cases. He's called as a Detective Khan. So in this story, this is Detective Khan, and this is his helper, or his one who is always there with him, Puran Singh. Detective Khan is sharp and witty, and there's one more thing about Detective Khan, that he whistles while solving the case. And Puran Singh is lethargic and pot bellied, and in fact, Detective Khan used to always tell Puran Singh that uh, why your stomach has become like a pumpkin. It is bulging out like a pumpkin. So, this was what said about him, that it looks like a pumpkin. So, now what happens? The jeep is ready and they have to solve a case. They are all sitting in the jeep and they are going to a village called as Lakhimpur. This is the village, and they reach Lakhimpur village. So there they have a complaint from two farmers. There is a complaint from Bhagirath. Bhagirath, so this is Bhagirath, as you can see. This is Bhagirath with this cow over here. And Bhagirath has a complaint that his neighbor, who is Joganna, his neighbor Joganna has poisoned his hens. So Detective Khan is reaching over there to solve this mystery. So what is the complaint? So Bhagirath has said that this Joganna has poisoned my hens by shooting the bottle of pesticides. When he shoots the bottle, so the bottle gets a hole, and from this a pesticide. You know what is a pesticide? Pesticides are kinds of sprays used to put on the what you call on the food grains or the plants around, so that you don't get germs. So there is no germs, insects or bacteria on the crop or in the field. So it is used for that. So he is telling that my hens got poisoned because he fired the bullets, and somehow the hens happened to drink that and they all died. Now, as you know, he is a detective. So when he was talking about Joganna, so what is this? For example, this Puran Singh is telling Jar Gablal Dar. Now, Jar Gablal Dar means that you should see your neighbor before taking the house. Jar means neighbor. Jar means neighbor. And Dar, this is an Arabic saying, okay? This is an Arabic saying. Jar Gablal Dar means you should see your neighbor and then take the house. Dar is an Arabic word for house. It's an Arabic word for house. So choose your house by seeing your neighbors. He said, what type of a neighbor you have, Joganna? You should have chosen your neighbor and then taken the house. This was what Puran Singh was saying. So then Detective Khan quietens him and he said, what is the matter with you? Don't talk rubbish. We are solving a case over here. So Detective Khan is very smart. He doesn't just listen to his story. He listens to Bhagirath's story, then he listens to Joganna, and he says, Joganna, you have to pay. Whatever you have done, you have to compensate. You have to give the compensation for killing the hens. He said, sir, his animals always make so much noise. I am not going to do anything. But what does Detective Khan do? He moves about in the neighborhood. He asks the people. So the people say that the villagers say they were very sympathetic to Bhagirath. In their thinking, Bhagirath was a simple and an honest man and a helping man. Whereas here this Joganna, they thought was very short tempered. Okay. Now, in the end, what happens? Detective Khan sees both these things and then he sees the jar. Okay, now he goes and he sees the jar and he's smiling. Because, why is he smiling? Now, when you fire a pistol, the pistol has bullets. Bullets are not as big stones, you know. So, he is seeing that when you fire the pellets, there will be a hole, but he's seeing the hole is bigger than the size of the pellets. Now bullets badi hoti and pellets are more smaller. They are just used to ward off little, you know, like sometimes you see a little hair running here and there, and so you use उसको शायद एयर गन कहा जाता है in Hindi. So he said pellets are very small and the hole is very big. So he comes to the conclusion, he said, oh Bhagirath, this work has been done by you. Joganna did fire and it missed, it fired but it got missed. So what he did, Bhagirath's hens had already died because of the disease. So hens had died because of what? A disease. So Bhagirath thought this is the exact time के मौका देख के चौका मारो. He said this is the very correct time. I can put all the blame on Joganna. He said you only have done this. So then in the end what happens? He says no, the hens have died due to the disease and the hole is bigger than what the pellet must have cost. And thus the case is solved, and as you know, truth always prevails. When you are trying to say something, the correct thing, there is no need for you to wo aisa tha, ye aisa tha, you know, Allah helps you in every possible way. So whatever crime and heinous act that Bhagirath did, in the end it was unfolded and it was known to everybody that truth will always prevail. So I hope you have understood the chapter.